YouTubers? It's that VA Dallas Cowboy fan coming back at you. How y'all doing on this Tuesday? I know if you live in the southeastern Virginia, it's kind of cloudy, rainy, muggy, and just but there's always a bright side to every bad day. It just may take some people a little longer to find it, but it's always there. And that's your silver lining of the day. Now on to the Dallas Cowboys. We've heard all the rumors, starting in this silly season of the offseason with Matthew Stafford wanting out and Deshaun Watson wanting out, and every single free agent being offered to the Dallas Cowboys, all quarterback trades to the Dallas Cowboys. Like, come on, people. Come on, stop it. It ain't gonna happen, because every time y'all say it, these guys are gonna have to come in, you're gonna have to pay them, and then it may or may not work. Why would you do that when you already got a quarterback that you can pay for the last 3 years that you haven't and already be good? I mean, wasn't that what Mike McCarthy said in his interview, in the first interview? That the reason he was here because he got to work with Dak? He don't want to work with Stafford. He don't want to work with Deshaun. Of course, he could have been lying. That's a whole nother can of worms. But to be honest, you got a quarterback that you can easily afford, but you keep fucking around. Let's be honest. You keep messing around, and it just keeps biting you in the butt each time money comes up, and you always got an excuse. That's BS to us Cowboy fans, because you didn't seem to have a problem going out and paying all these other players, but when it came to your franchise quarterback, y'all been playing punk. Really? Okay. All right. That's the way y'all want to go with it. That's the way it's going to be. All right. You lose a lot of fans that way, just saying. And speaking of fans, we got to calm our expectations, because we hear all these big name free agents, the quarterbacks, excuse me, the draftees coming out of college, and we get a little enamored with them. A lot of times it's due to their name and reputations, and sometimes it's just we follow these people their whole careers and we just want them. And sometimes we got to temper it, because that's not how the Joneses work. That's not how Will McClay works. And eventually that's going to start biting us in the butt. Because sometimes those best people that we want may actually be the best thing for the team. But getting it to the Joneses and getting that through their thick skulls is not going to happen. But coming up on Will McClay, due to the changes in the whole draft thing, the no combine, they're going to do like pro days, and all you can send is like one trainer and one physician to check them out, and that's it. I mean, you really going to have to watch their old tape. And some of the players who did not play this past season in college, you really going to have to look at tape, because they haven't played since 2019, and that's the best you got. That's all you're going to have to work on. You're not going to really get to see these guys doing all the drills you really, really want, because you can't even invite them to your facilities to do private workouts this year. So this is going to come down on Will McClay and his scouting staff and their recommendations for this upcoming draft. And, ooh, boy, it's going to be a doozy. Let's say that. I mean, we already know we want defensive help pretty much at every level. So that's kind of the obvious choice for us in the draft. But offensive name that keeps coming up is this Kyle Pitts kid. I get it. Everybody's like, oh man, he's a safe tight end like Travis Kelce. He can do this, that, and the other. Did we as fan base already forget Dalton Schultz, what he did this year? Did we already forget Blake Jarwin, what he can do when healthy? That's all I'm saying. We already got two tight ends that can be great if the quarterback situation was more stable and our offensive line can hold up their end of the deal, and you don't have to have a tight end helping to block all the time. So, do we really need a tight end like that at number 10? No. At number 10, you draft defense. If you can't get the defensive player you want, you better get somebody on that offensive line, because last year told you straight up, if you don't have that offensive line, somebody protecting these quarterbacks, and they got to basically do it all on their own, you can forget it. This team is not going to function that well. But that's my thought on the draft and all that right now. We got so much going on with free agents that these Cowboys are going to really have to hunker down and figure out who they want to bring back. Some guys are exclusive free agents, and guys that are tendered we can bring back. So it's not going to be too hard to pick up those guys, but some of the bigger names on the offense and defense is going to be a little touchy. We may or may not have to retain them, and it's going to be weird because of, we know what we know as far as free agency, but we don't know about the draft. So you're going to have to retain some guys just for any level of semblance to a defense without trying to go and retool the whole thing in one draft, which they've tried to do before in 2009, I do believe, and that draft blew up in our faces. So it is going to be a lot of work for the scouting departments, the personnel departments. Basically, it's going to come down on the heads of McClay and Stephen Jones. And from what I'm hearing, it's looking more like Stephen Jones is a lot of the reason for these horrible free agents that have been coming in the last couple of years. Apparently, Jerry has ceded control, a lot of it, from the whole signing of free agents, and let his son do most of the work. That's why we're bargain basement shopping all these years, when you knew when Jerry was running things, he'd pop for any money to get a big name free agent. It may blow up in our face, but that was the way Jerry rolled. He didn't care. Hence why we were in salary cap hell for so long. But it worked sometimes. If you could have built the whole team around it, it works. Like the Eagles who won the Super Bowl just basically buying up a bunch of free agents. Now it's coming back to bite them because of the cap situation for them and the fact they didn't draft well. And that's not something we want to go back through again. So we're going to have to figure it out. I, for one, was like, pick one or two free agents, go after them. Don't be trying to get 10 free agents for cheap that aren't going to make it out of training camp. Just go for 2 hitters and make it work. Y'all good at money. Y'all can figure it out. There's ways to finagle the cap and get some room under the cap. Sign quarterback. Some things you could do. Let's see. We got our 2 teams into the Super Bowl, which pretty much makes me not care about the Super Bowl yet again. I'll watch for the commercials because that's the best thing about it, really. I don't care about the halftime performer. I don't care about the 2 teams that are in it, really. And speaking of those 2 teams, Pat Mahomes has reiterated, which he stated before, that he has watched Dak Prescott and he modeled some of his game after him. Now, he's not the only one he modeled his game after, but it's nice that he took some of Dak's work and worked it into his own stuff. And that's high praise coming from Pat Mahomes, which will just make haters just hate Dak even more because they're going to compare him and Mahomes and, that whole can of worms like Jesus. But anyway, we're steadily moving to the off season. If you're a Game of Thrones watcher, winter is coming, as they say. There's just so much going on with these Cowboys. So many things that can happen between now and the draft, and then the start of the training camp. If we're going to have a normal training camp, which I doubt. But this team, you can't sleep on them. There's always something going on, right? Can't sleep on the Dallas Cowboys, as they say. But that's all I wanted to talk about right now. I'm almost at work. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe. Take care. VA Dallas Cowboy fan.